Welcome to the Side Action Podcast, the sports gambling show that covers everything in the world of sports betting from A through Z. We'll cover the four major sports, as well as anything and everything in between worth some action, and will increase the size of your bankroll. And
Welcome to the Side Action,
we go.
Episode 29 of Season 7. My name is Jim Weglars, a.k.a. Wegs. Follow me at Wegs Pool on X and on Instagram. Sorry, everybody. We had technical difficulties at the start of this video, so the first section got deleted or something, so we were going over our little weekend shenanigans, and now we're going to go right into stupid stories about me going out too late and drinking with Scotty Green and so on and so forth. So hopefully this will merge up. Follow Dalton Cooper at Mr. Grumpy Gills on X and Dalton Cooper on Instagram.
Anyway, so what ends up happening is Scotty Green is not used to being out as late as Jimmy Wegs. So he was a little slower than usual. I'm always like, take me a minute to get going. I felt great after a few games, but he was a little slower than usual. I was like, Scotty Green, you're not used to taking down 5-6 drinks like Jimmy Wegs in it,
He's not a seasoned vet.
I found his kryptonite, but
yeah.
Then Saturday
summer.
Saturday was fun because it was my buddy Jay's 50th, and they rent out this kind of weird like club place, and it was not like a club, but it was a building in the suburbs, and they did a casino night. So I got some practice throws and crafts, just getting the rhythm down. It was a really fun time. It was a good time. We had a live band. It's really good.
Okay. Hell yeah. Did you any good? I mean, did you at least take advantage of the practice?
Oh, bro, I threw like 30 times. I was unstoppable. I was just crushing numbers. I got everything but the 2 and 12 in my throw. It didn't have a bonus, but I mentally know this stuff. I mean, I was just making everybody money at the table. The guys were so slow, though. I felt bad for the dealers. They didn't really understand, my terminology, I guess, because these guys, I don't know if they've ever dealt before or they hadn't dealt in a while. Like, I started off, I'm like 66 inside. He's like, what? I'm like, okay, let's slow this down. 15, 18, 15, and I tried to do something fancy to him, and he just was like shut down. So I'm like, let's just keep it simple. Like, just put more money on that one. Okay. Right there,
Nice. So,
but it was good. Yeah, it was a good time. It was a fun time. They had a live band, and Jay's daughter, who's now at Iowa as a freshman, she's really good at singing. So she's a accomplished singer. I don't know if you ever heard of School of Rock. You've seen the movie, I'm sure. Yeah. But there's School of Rocks in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
And she participated in like the School of Rock program and learned to be like a singer. And she was crushing it. She was singing Journey and all these 80s and 90s tunes that Jay loves. So she was crushing it. She was really good. If you saw my Instagram story, that was her singing with the lead singer of this like cover band that's been around for 30 years. And she was like fitting right in. So she was awesome.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good time.
It was. How about yourself, sir? What looks like you did some stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, honestly. It's all been a blur. Oh, yeah. Well, Saturday we watched Survivor Series.
Okay.
Or we watched the Elimination Chamber. Sorry, not Survivor Series. John Cena's a heel now. I don't know if you saw this.
Well, it's bound to happen,
Yeah. I only watch like 2 or 3 of them a year now, and that's like one of the main ones that I'll watch. But yeah, we did that Saturday night. After we did some apartment looking, if you will. So
okay.
Good time there. Tuesday night we did some bowling. Sunday I had a nice stomach bug, so that was cool.
Oh,
that
exciting.
was fun. Yeah, that was fun. And then just been working all week, really. Got the NHL trade deadline is today, so just taking all the info for the other pod.
Yeah, you're pretty excited about it?
Yeah.
Some interesting action?
Just working. A lot of work. Nice. Oh, yeah.
Enjoying
the grind, though.
I'll refer to it later, but I did watch the Oscars on Sunday. It was a pleasant experience. I hadn't seen most of the movies, but I did see one of the movies that night, which won the Best Picture. Honora is the name of the movie, which is funny because it's about the stripper, and she meets this guy who's a young guy, he's got lots of money. It's actually a really good movie. But at one point, they're on Fremont Street by Circa. I'm like, hey, look at that. Nice. I know that. I know where that is.
Did you did you hear the theory behind that too, by the way, of like an actress can't win an Oscar unless she plays like a promiscuous woman role or like she's on a pole or something, which they were looking at like all the women that had won Oscars and it was like kind of that role and it was just kind of funny. I don't know if you saw this or
No, so you're saying that to
algorithm.
actually win the Oscar, you have to have that, or you have to have done it in your career.
Yeah, well, just like that's the role that they were playing when they won their Oscar. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, this is
Hollywood's on the hot seat, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, Demi Moore probably should have won. I didn't see the movie, The Substance, which is supposed to be awesome. But she was in a movie where she was on a pole, not for that one. But
nice.
it was funny because I have a little more experience than most in this world, so I watched it. But, well, I've been on a pole before, but nice. I know some people that have performed on poles in my time. Okay. And it was fairly accurate. There were some things I was like, come on, you know what I mean? But that's the thing. I mean, the truth of the matter is women, they don't get the same, range. You've got the mother, you got the crone, the old lady, you got obviously this type of, siren type person. There's only a few roles that women get to play in this world. So I don't like that that's a truism. Although Zoe Saldana, talk about that in a minute. She obviously got Best Supporting Actress in other. She played an attorney. So, but you're saying for the best, or maybe you're saying for the best actress or actress in a leading role. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just something I saw on the internet. I didn't know if it was, I didn't know if you saw that in your algorithm or not.
No, it's in my algorithm.
Yeah, that's right, bots. Hell yeah.
So let's talk about the shed. I say I got some stuff in. Nice work. So who are you taking to the shed this week?
Well, starting off with the Bengals. They're going to the shed. They did keep T. Higgins with the franchise tag, but they officially gave permission to Trey Hendrickson to seek a trade partner. So they lost Sam Hubbard to retirement, and now we're losing. The Bengals are losing Trey Hendrickson to. He's going to get a first. You have to get at least a first back, a first and some, if not a first, a player and something else. So hopefully they do. But man, it's tough to overpay for wide receivers and not have anybody in the line of scrimmage. And they did cut Alex Kappa, which he won the Triple Crown for the offensive lineman this past year. He gave up the most sacks, the most pressures, and had the most penalties, I think. So
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So tough week for the Bengals.
The reworking of the roster. I mean, usually when you keep the skilled guys and don't keep the guys who do the work, it's usually not a good sign. But we'll see what happens.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. And then on the other side of the country, we had the Seahawks. So the Seahawks are in the shed because DK Metcalf wants out officially, and they also got rid of Tyler Lockett. They cut him. So they have Jackson Smith and Jigba and Noah Fant maybe right now. And it was a tough week for Seattle all around because even the hockey team traded, two of their better players. So, yeah, Seattle's really in the shed this week. Sad place to be. It's probably raining right now too, which doesn't help the morale. So,
yeah, it's probably it's never too sunny out there. It's not always sunny in Philadelphia, so it's never sunny in Seattle. So
nice.
That's too bad. That's too bad for the Seahawks there.
Oh yeah.
For me, it's veteran running backs. Last week we didn't talk about it, but that was the combine last week, and obviously I don't know if we got to watch any of it, but there was a lot of guys running fast. The running backs, incredible number of running backs broke 4.4. 10 guys of the running backs broke 4.4, which what I put here is a tough guy for veteran running backs. Because if you're a veteran running back and you want to get signed, it's pretty low likelihood now until some injuries because these 10 guys are going to get drafted at different parts of the draft. You can just get a speedster. They're showing one guy who was faster than Jahmyr Gibbs, in the 40.
Right.
So, dude, these guys are just, 4.4 it's booking. I know that there were some guys around 4.3, in the receiver, quarterback stuff, but 4.4 for running back, dude, these guys are 200, 220, 210. They're booking.
Yeah. They're moving.
They are. You don't want to run into that. So the other one is back to the Mavericks, which we talked about them, I think, in the shed before, but insult to injury, literally, they've got Kyrie Irving tore his ACL this week. So, my God, was it a year ago that they had? When did they get rid of
Jalen Brunson?
Brunson. Was that 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. That's just started the slide. They had this stud group. Then
Yeah, they went
obviously
to
they
the
lose
finals.
him. They lose
Yeah.
Porzingis. Obviously they trade off Luka. Then they lose Kyrie. I mean, my God, that is a rough go for you Maverick fans out there.
Yeah. Mark Cuban finally spoke today and said that they definitely should have gotten way more than what they did on that Luka trade.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they just gave him away. It's sad, but anywho, there you go. Let's go positive here, Coop. I mean, let's try. I'm going to start. First, I'm going to say BYU, man, the Cougs. These guys are good. I keep telling you they're good. I know you went with me on this one pick, but like I love this team. I got to watch them basically bell to bell against Iowa State the other night, and it was one of these games where I'm watching the game and I'm sitting there and I'm like, nobody scored for the first like 5 minutes of this game. And I was like, what? It's like 100. I knew these teams have good offenses. It's like 150 point total. I'm like, So I ended up, more on that later. I bought in on a low ticket to get in there. But they just, despite Iowa State plays really tough defense and they were all over them early. In fact, I think BYU turned the ball over like a massive amount of times. They had 8 turnovers in the first few minutes. They flipped the script, man. They just run good offense, hitting big shots. And it took them 2 overtimes to win the game, but they did win the game outright. And besides their offense, this Kuba Kita, the guy is a stud, man. He is a dude in the middle. So BYU, welcome to Club Dub. You probably can't drink, so maybe I'll drink for you. How about that?
Yeah.
Coop and I will drink for you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you can look at the ladies that serve the drinks, but guess what? You're still invited in. Have a good time, and welcome to Club Dub.
Hell yeah, man-child. I like that.
Man-child. I mean, the dude is he's just fit but strong, right? And just got every rebound and was blocking shots. It's really fun to see.
Hell yeah.
The other team in college basketball I've got in here is the UC San Diego Tritons. The Tritons are awesome, man. They just won their first share of the Big West title last night ever. They were only, basically, I think it's 2020 when they first were put into Division One, and so they finally came through and they actually won this one. They're 27-4. I think they should make the tournament regardless of whether they win the Big West because they've got the anteaters out there that can take them down. The Zot. But this team is really fun to watch. I watched them last night too. They actually didn't cover the number, but they passed the ball really well, and their offense is really slick. So it's fun to watch the Tritons.
Oh yeah, 27-4 is nothing to schneid at either.
No kidding. Lastly, as I mentioned, Oscar winners, you kind of started this off. Now, first of all, I want to go too deep into this. I've been a Zoe Saldana fan for a very long time. You can understand why. But she's Dominican descent, so I always had an affinity because I was lived there for a while, and when I first saw her in Drumline, I'm like, oh my God, she's Dominican, like yeah. But she always went by Saldana, and then last night it's like, or Sunday night, Zoe Saldana. I'm like, what? I'm like, did I miss this all these years? Is it just me? And of course, I go on TikTok, my home, and they're just talking about like, when did she become Saldana? She's always been Saldana. She dropped the Enye because I guess it was Hollywood, right? But in the recent years, I guess she added the Enye back, so she is Saldana. Just for the record,
Okay.
She was talking about how she's the first American-born. Well, she said first Dominican. That's a little arguable. She's the first American-born woman of Dominican descent to win an Oscar. So, props to Zoe. Props to the young woman from Enora who was awesome. Mickey, I can't remember her last name. She was great, and so many more. I mean, like Adrian Brody, who hadn't won in forever. I don't know if you got to see this. The first time he won, this is many years ago, he surprise kissed Halle Berry. This was kind of the famous thing where she was presenting the award, and he put a big smacker on her, and she was like, oh my God. So after he won the award in the after party, he's got a woman, but she came up, she's like, excuse me, sorry, and she put a big smacker on him. So props to Adrian Brody as well.
Nice. No, I did not see that. That must have been before my time.
Yeah, it was probably like 20 years ago or something. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Anyway.
Nice.
How about yourself? What do you got in Club Dub this week?
Oh yeah, I got the Commanders. So they got Debo Samuel. For I think it was like a 3rd round pick or like a 5th round pick, one or the other. So not a whole lot. Pretty good, move for them. They needed a wide receiver. They got a rookie quarterback, so I like that they're at least rolling the dice and adding what can only benefit their rookie quarterback. So they are in Club Dub, and then we're putting the Ice Cats in Club Dub. So Florida Panthers acquired Brad Marchand today from the Boston Bruins. So the Rat joins the Rats, which is it's just going to be there are going to be a lot of hits in South Florida. If Tampa and the Ice Cats play each other in the first round, there is just going to be bloodshed. It's going to be a bath.
I love it. That's what we love.
We're getting in the best time of the year. Yeah, where we get to the basketball, and then we got the Masters, and then we got hockey playoffs, NBA playoffs.
There's one other thing that I have to mention: the Kentucky Derby.
Oh yeah.
We have a commitment from Art Primetime Murphy to come on this podcast. It's only taken 7 full seasons. He is saying that he will come on and give us some free race stuff after I get back from Vegas, and also do a Kentucky Derby episode if we so choose. Just so you know.
Nice. Yeah, we could definitely a segment at least.
Exactly. Did you hear though that the Commanders did release Jonathan Allen today? Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
So they're and maybe they'll sign him back at some lower cost or something. But Commanders are making moves for sure.
They are making moves. There's also one other person in Club Dub, but I was hoping you would introduce it in our next segment.
Another person that, as we transition to college basketball, the main thing here, we do have listeners, by the way. I know it's a little surprising sometimes. When I check the numbers, I'm not sure, but Paul, Night Ranger Dempsey, listened to us last week, and he tailed us and won money because, you went 5-0. I went 4-1. We went head-to-head on one, and I missed. We killed it last week, and he won some cash, and he reached out to me, and he's going to Vegas with me in a couple weeks. He's like, listen to you guys last week. You guys killed it. I'm like, I know. We're just massacring the world here.
Yeah.
So let's go into it. Pat ourselves on the back here. Let's start off with Auburn at Kentucky. Look, we talked about it. Auburn's really good. Kentucky, solid team. But Auburn's at a different level, even though they lost earlier this week. But they with that win, they won the SEC outright. So they crushed the Cats 94-78. They shot almost 52% from the field with 12 threes. That's how you get it done. Auburn is looking really damn good. And, Johnny, that's not Johnny, by the way. It's like Yanni Broom, but I like Johnny.
Nice.
Yanni Broom he got a little dinged up in one of the games this week, so maybe he'll need some time off, but he's going to be ready. He's still in the Player of the Year talks anyway. And he flipped to the odds-on favorite.
Oh, nice. Okay. Who was leading? Had to be Cooper Flagg before that.
Oh, yeah, Cooper Flagg. They've been kind of going. Cooper was running out and then like this, so back and forth.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the next game is when
big win.
Yeah, we went. This is where we went head to head, and you won the nunny, but we were both kind of right. In the end, Tennessee went off as a 4.5-point favorite against Alabama at home, 160.5-point total. Look, when you watch this game, Alabama was winning the whole time, and they were winning the entire game until like the last 4 minutes when Tennessee made this run. And it was an awesome run. They made key plays down the stretch, and then the big three to take the lead. And they won the game 79-76, which shockingly was an under. This is like the first under Alabama's played this season. But yeah, I mean, the Vols got the win, but did not get the cover. But good for the Vols, and maybe could have taken that 4th 1 seed if you so choose.
Yeah, they're keeping their SEC hopes alive. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess with Auburn winning, that's out of the case. But at the time, it was a big win for the SEC hopes.
Yeah, and they almost got beat at Ole Miss. That was Tennessee. That was an interesting game. That was a game I've been doing really well, Coop. I bet most of our picks on Saturday, plus a couple others. I went 5-1 on the day. But I was going for the parlay, the 6-team parlay, and I missed the one, and that was Arkansas that day, that they sucked that day. And then this night, when Tennessee played Ole Miss, it was like went 3-1. The 4th pick was Tennessee, Ole Miss. They went over. I was like, what do you mean they're going over? So
yeah.
Michigan State played Wisconsin. We talked about this. Sparty just flexed again. This was a huge game. They won the game 71-62, another under game. They covered that 4.5 pretty easily. Look, Sparty's good. Now they almost lost last night. They needed to win at Iowa because Wisconsin also got beat earlier in the week. And last night, if Michigan State beat Iowa, they win the Big Ten, which is what they did. It was getting a little close. I originally had another game on here to match up, but in the end, Michigan State does what they need to do, and they won. They won the Big Ten outright.
Yeah, Wisconsin really shit the bed from the 3-point line too. They were 5 of 32 in that game, so it's 15% for anybody keeping track at home. Yeah. The one thing I worry about though with Michigan State, I worry about their free throw shooting. That really does scare me a little bit going into March here. Closing out games, and they were atrocious. I think in this game too, if I recall correctly. Right. I think this was Sunday afternoon, if I'm not mistaken. I think if I'm not watching. Yeah, they were 6 of 13. They were like 50%. They were less than 50%. So 46. So just something to keep your eye on moving forward.
I like that. I already mentioned BYU. They were getting 9 points in this game, and it was crazy. This is the one I was literally. It was Mardi Gras. It was Fat Tuesday. It was crappy weather. I'm walking from the train getting soaked. I ducked in a bar. Let me just get some food. And I look at the game. I'm like, the game's 5-0 with 6 minutes played. I'm like, this is going to go under, or this is going to go over. But like there was a 151 on the at the closing total. It was 131. I'm like, this is going to be a steal. I'm going to jump in there. Well, it was a sweat to get over 131, but then they end up going overtime twice, and they actually went over the eventual total in this one. So, but BYU gets that big win, as I mentioned before. And Iowa State, I will give them credit. I have not been a believer of them yet because of the injuries. Defensively, they're legit. I mean, this team can really defend. It's whether they can score when it counts.
Yeah, they had a bad first half. They only had 24 points in the first half. That was just that's not going to win you a lot of ball game, especially at home. It's tough to come out and have that at home.
Well, the other team didn't score for the first 5-6 minutes of the game, so that's when you need to be up by 10 or 15. Arkansas, we talked about this. Was a bubble game. I think both teams still probably will make the bubble when I look at Lenardi stuff, just because the net is kind of screwed up because the SEC is so good. They're going to get like 13 teams in, which I think is kind of crap. But Arkansas, after the big loss on the road in South Carolina, which sucked, they come back and bounce back at Vandy and won pretty easily, 90-77. They shot over 50%. So they went from 29% on Saturday to 50% on, I guess it was Tuesday, to get this win and cover.
That's crazy. They're going to have, did you say 12 teams from the SEC?
I think it's going to be 13-14. Yeah, Texas can still make it. Oklahoma got a big win against Missouri. I'm not a big believer in that should happen, but we can have that debate. Well, maybe we can in a minute, because I just think some of those teams, like let's say UC San Diego doesn't win their conference tournament, they should be in. Put them in. They won 27 games. I don't care if they're not in the SEC. I mean, some of these teams like Texas is like 5-12 in the SEC, and they're going to make it in. Suspect,
It is. Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair.
We always have this argument. You get these bloated leagues that have like tons of teams, but when push comes to shove, are they going to win in the big dance? Because if you're playing the best team in a certain conference against the 14th best team in a conference, in theory, that they should win, like the top team of the other conference. So, like a Drake is also like 27-3 or whatever the hell they are. They're amazing. If they don't win the Missouri Valley, they'll miss the dance because Texas with like a 16-14 record's going to make it. I just don't like it. It's just not for me. All right, well, let's go into Ken Palm. So it really hasn't changed a heck of a lot. The top is the same: Duke, Auburn, even though they lost to A&M this week after they locked up their SEC championship. Houston's 3. Florida balled out at Alabama. I watched most of this game. Their dude, his name is Condon, not Condon, by the way, Condon. Big white dude. He is legit. I know that I haven't seen a lot of Cooper Flagg play. I don't know if he's more of a guard, but this kind of dude is a forward. This dude is super athletic and good, so watch out for that guy. They're 4. Tennessee 5.
6'11", 230. Yeah.
Oh, he's awesome. Tennessee's 5, Alabama 6. Now we're out of the SEC. Texas Tech, Zags somehow 8, Michigan State 9, and Wisconsin 10. So it hasn't changed a heck of a lot, but it was nice to see some of these teams in action this week.
No, definitely. And just real quick too, so 22 out of the 23 champions have been in the top 21 in efficiency, and top 21 of the last 23 have been in the top 29 defensive efficiency. Like you like to reference. So can you name the 7 teams that fit that mold right now as we enter tournament time?
Okay, they're inside the top 21. You said
they're in the top 21 in offensive efficiency and the top 29 in defensive.
Oh, 29. Efficiency. Okay, 29. Okay, well, it's definitely Duke. Duke.
Okay,
sure.
That's 1. Yep.
Houston is 2.
Yep, Houston's one of them.
Florida.
Yep, that's one of them.
Okay, this is going to get tricky because is Auburn in there? God damn. I'm not going to look at my cheat sheet. I've got it up. Auburn, I'm going to list her in there, right?
Auburn is in there. Yep, there's 4.
Okay.
You got 3 more.
Okay, inside the top is 21 and 29, so it gets a little tight there. We've got, it's not Alabama. Their defense sucks.
No,
Texas offense is bad. Not the Zags. Let's see. How about, I think 21, huh? No, I don't want to cheat. Don't want to cheat. Okay. Let's say Texas Tech.
Texas Tech is one of them. Yeah, that's
okay,
5.
Okay, good. Sparty. Let's see.
No, Sparty is not one of them.
I know, and it's not St. John's. It's not Wisconsin.
No.
It's Clemson.
Clemson is one of the other ones. You got one left.
So the other team I really like, but they're not top 21 in offense, and that's Louisville, but they're not in there, right?
No, it's not Louisville.
Yeah. So who's that other team? Oh, come on, Jimmy Wags. You can do it. It is top 21, top 29. It is Maryland?
No, it is Arizona.
Arizona still?
Arizona, yeah.
They make it. So those
Auburn,
are the teams
Duke,
you look for to win the championship.
Yeah, Auburn, Duke, Florida, Houston, Texas Tech, Arizona, and Clemson. Those are your 7 right now that fit your bubble.
Yeah, and what you got to do is before the tournament starts, you look at that to pick your champion. You have to. That's the starting point. The other thing you have to look at is, do they have a coach that's gone to the Final Four? Usually that's helpful, or at least Sweet 16. So, no, good testing. God damn it! I knew Arizona's kind of confounding because they have like 9 losses, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
So it's weird. Their metrics are so good, but their losses they lose games. So I don't trust them as much as those other teams.
I know that a shootout on Tuesday night. They had like a 119 to 100 game. I can't remember who it was against. Arizona State. Yeah, but they are 20 and 10, 14 and 5. Yeah, it was 113 to 100.
Right, and my Louisville is 26 and 24, like in terms of that metric. So they're on the cusp, but not quite there. But I look at that stuff all the time, so I like that. All right, so let's talk about teams like I covered last week that are winning us money or losing us money. These are teams that aren't great against the spread or really good against the spread. BYU, I've told you this already, 8-1 against the spread in their last 9. I didn't include Clemson last week. They were 8-1. They actually didn't cover their last game, but they're 8-2 against the spread out of their last 10. So nice work, Clemson. They're playing great. They've won like 7 or 8 games in a row.
Yep.
Florida is 9-2. They're incredible against the number. VCU is 8-3. Wisconsin kind of took a hit, but 8-3 as well. And then Missouri 7-3. But I leave the caveat: they're great at home. I worry about them in the tournament. And UCLA is 7-2. So those are your teams that are winning you money of late.
Nice.
And then the teams losing, Michigan, I'm telling you, I line up against Michigan every time. This team cannot cover a number. 2-9-1. 2-9-1. They suck. New Mexico, who's somehow leading the Mountain West, they just can't cover a number. 1-5. Ole Miss 2-8-1. Again, They did actually the other night. I think they might have covered a number against Tennessee. Kansas 3-8-1, and then Texas 3-7. So these are teams that when I look at a situation, I'm like, okay, if they're favored, I'm usually going against them. Because especially if they're favored at home against a team that's on the top, or like in Arkansas, somebody's going to come to town. We'll talk about that in a minute, I guess. But those are my teams I look for.
God, I was gonna say, how long do you wait to take that into consideration for the first round? Like Texas, for say you said they're kind of one of these bubble teams. They get in, they aren't. I don't know how you feel about that, but I see that as a good buy low situation.
Well, it depends on the team. I think that a Texas is a great example. These, what we'll call it a bloated league that makes it in. It depends on who they're playing. Are they going to be matched up against Drake? I'm going to take Drake. Texas might be favored in that game. I'll take Drake to win the outright upset. But to your point, an Ole Miss playing like a middle tier, if they get like a 6 or 7 seed and they play like a middle tier other team from the Big Ten, they played a tougher league. Okay, so then who's favored? Ole Miss isn't a brand name. Wisconsin might be a brand name. That's a team that I might actually back in the tournament, like an Ole Miss versus a Wisconsin, so to speak. You know what I mean? Gotcha. So it's situational. The problem with the tournament, not only you have to pick a full bracket before it starts, but it's also you have to look at the matchup. The matchup makes a huge difference. But in general, when I'm looking at in league, I can kind of figure it out now. I'm like, okay, well, the team sucks against the spread. Like, am I really going to back them in that situation? But every now and then, like with Clemson the other night, I didn't end up betting against them, but their number was like 15.5. I'm like, that's a huge number. Are they really going to back that? They didn't. And they've got another big spread this weekend. So I'm not trying to put them on the card. It's just kind of informing my decisions,
Gotcha. That's a good segue, by the way.
Yeah, here we go. Let's talk about 3 games, and then we'll talk about the conference tournaments that have already started. First, we'll go for this week's matchup, St. John's. They're obviously 7th ranked.
Here's
my
St.
team.
John's, yeah.
I love
your
St.
guys.
John's. My guys, Patino, And then Marquette, who's 21st. Marquette is actually favored in this one by 1.5 points. I actually originally had St. John's favored. Total at 140.5. This is actual off the presses here. This is tomorrow, Saturday, the 8th at 11 a.m. Central. Now, St. John's is locked up the Big East title. But my thought is Patino doesn't give a shit. He is trying to get the best seed he can and stick it, show Marquette that we're actually the top dogs. So I don't think he's going to sit his starters, so to speak. I think he's going to play this one. I would back St. John's plus the points.
Yeah, I mean, they've won 5 straight, too. And Marquette's, 2-3 in their last 5, so they've been up and down. They lost to Villanova. They lost to UConn earlier, 2 days ago. So, yeah, I'm with you as much as it pains me. I've been fading the St. John's. I've been fading them all season. So they're 17-2 in conference. I mean, it's not. I mean, how far do they have to go until they're not a fluke? But these teams shoot identically from the field too. They both shoot 44%, but St. John's gets about 6 more rebounds a game. So just something to keep an eye on there, that they have a nice rebounding edge, I think, over Marquette. That's going to be the difference in the game.
And Marquette is more balanced, right? St. John's is not great offensively, but if they shoot the ball decently, they win the game, right? Their defense is so elite, number 2 in Ken Palm. So it's just, my thing is, it's more of a flex. Is Patino going to just say, I don't care if we won the league, we're going to keep playing, balls to the wall, and I think they will. So Auburn tries to get another crack at Alabama in the Iron Bowl. This is in Auburn. Auburn's a 7.5 point favorite, 177.5 point total. I know you love the overs with Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
My only thing is Auburn going to call off the dogs like they did against A&M the other night? Because this is at 1:30 tomorrow, actually, afternoon. So that's my only concern about the 7.5. I think they're definitely better, and they could cover this number if all things being like 3 weeks ago. But will they call off the dogs like they did the other night on the road? So I don't know. I don't think I'd take Bama, which I hate Bama, actually. I don't think they play any defense, but I think I would take the points because I'm not sure Auburn's going to just crush them like they did the other time.
I mean, I love the over here. You said they called off the dogs. They still got to 155 points in that. I mean, they did lose to Texas A&M, but, they got 155 point total. So I love the over there.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd probably take the points. I'd probably take the 8.5. I mean, just to your point, when they are, if they do get up 10, 12, can you get a quick backdoor, 6 or 7 points probably. So that's I feel like there's a lot of value there with Alabama. But love the over here.
Love the over. 177. Let's get to 100, guys. I mean, those guys Sears is great. Their defense is bad. I mean, Florida could just scored at will on them. It was
both teams
pretty
both shoot 48% from the field. So, I mean, you're looking at two really good shooting teams. They both assist at 16 and almost 17 a game, basically. And, I mean, they run up and down the floor. So the only time they're going to stop is, to sub out or a TV timeout. So,
right.
Yeah.
The last game I wanted to highlight, only because it's, a marquee matchup. Duke, obviously they're awesome, at North Carolina. Duke is a 10.5-point favorite on the road, 157.5-point total. This is Saturday at 5:30 p.m. The Heels need the win. They've actually gone on a run. They're kind of probably on the right side of the bubble now. This would be the game. If they win this game, they're basically in the dance. That's the way I look at it. That's why I would probably take the points here with UNC. I know that Duke's better. There's no question. They're much better as a basketball team. So this is going to be a prove it to me, Duke. You've got the cutthroat attitude. You haven't played anybody. I mean, they've been crushing the whole league. There hasn't been a close game since the Clemson game. So I'm not saying UNC to win this game, but does UNC have enough to make it interesting in the end? And I think 10.5 is just a little too many.
Yeah, and I hate to say this, but I think I'm leaning the under in this game just because. I mean, Duke allows 61 per game on the season. North Carolina's like 76, so there's obviously a really big advantage there. But the last 4 games for Duke, they've scored 110, 97, 100, and 93. So I mean, I just feel like you're due for kind of a regression game. And then, UNC same way. They've scored 96, 92, 91 their last 3. So to your point, I think when the games get kind of, they have to have them, obviously the defense kind of shifts caliber. So I like the under here. I don't know if I like the spread. I would stay away from this number. I don't like it really. I mean, if I had to pick a side, I'd probably go the dog, but I wouldn't feel good about it. I feel much better about just taking the under and watching the kids play defense because I think that's going to be a big component of this game.
Yeah. I mean, leave it to Hubert Davis to save his job yet again. I mean, about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, they just were dead in the water. They weren't going to make the tournament, and now they're just closing. Now, granted, the ACC sucks. I'm telling you, they're going to get 3 to 4 teams max. So it's an unlike ACC. It's Duke, it's Clemson, it's Louisville for sure, and then North Carolina's that team. SMU's kind of floating around too. Yeah. But they've had some pretty bad losses, so we'll see. But that's what I'm saying. It's all motivational. Duke is a way better team. And if Duke wins this game and blows them out by 20, I will consider them, Ridgeway, who loves Duke, to pick them for the title. Because it's them or Auburn, at the top echelon. I'm rooting for other teams, but I'm not sure if there's other teams that can run with these guys. I'm concerned with Duke's strength of schedule. They just haven't played anybody for weeks since the non-con, really, so.
That's fair.
Well, let's go into the conference tournaments that have begun, and we're going to get our first tickets punched tomorrow night. Start with the Ohio Valley. They're ready to go. They're in the semis tonight. Tomorrow's their championship, 8:00 p.m. Central, and you're probably going to get Southeast Missouri and Southern Illinois, Edwardsville, or whoever it is. I don't know if you got any interest in this one, but I just like to mention that's always the first ticket. That Ohio Valley is the first punch. It's so exciting. They're dancing.
Okay. Is that the SIU Salukis? Is that who that is?
No, the SIU, it's a difference. SIU Edwardsville, which is another town in Southern Illinois. So it's not the Salukis. The Salukis are still in the Missouri Valley. They're not that good this year. But
gotcha. Okay. Well, my ignorance is showing. Yeah, you should cut me off.
It's okay. There's a lot of in these leagues. There's a lot of movement. To be clear, a few years ago, you knew the teams. Now it's they're moving conferences left and right. Then you've got 4 tickets punched on Sunday. The Big South, who has a very good basketball team in there too. That's 11 a.m. on Sunday. High Point is the team to watch. They're 26-5, but they have to win the tournament. And they've got 2 teams that could really beat them with Winthrop and UNC Asheville. So there's definitely going to be value on those teams if you want to still get them either as a future or, take the points against High Point. But kind of rooting for High Point. One of my buddies from Peace Corps is actually from High Point. Not that he went to school there, went to UNC, but, go High Point.
Right on time.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
There's another one. And then the Atlantic Sun they tip off at 1 o'clock Central on Sunday. You've got Lipscomb and North Alabama. If these two teams aren't in there, it's going to be a disappointment. So if these two teams don't make the championship, pick one of these teams that's still there. They're going to blow out the team that shocks somebody to get there. That's what I'd say.
Okay.
It's true. Missouri Valley is at 110, just slightly off on Sunday. This is your Drake matchup, 27-3 on the year. But they could lose to Bradley. I mean, they have lost games this year, and Northern Iowa has always been a salty team in this conference, and this is what they call Arch Madness down in St. Louis. So really want
Don't forget about the Redbirds either. You know, their first
the
game.
Redbirds.
Yeah, Illinois State,
Yeah, the Redbirds. There's another one. Wow. Full 5-alarm fire here. Wow. Okay, so then Summit tips off at 8 o'clock Central on Sunday. That's Omaha on the top. Look at that. But I love the Jackrabbits always. You put the Jackrabbits in there. But here's an interesting situation, Coop. In the Summit, you've got a team called St. Thomas. I can't remember. They have a really long name.
Minnesota Tommies,
They could win this tournament, but they're not eligible for the tournament. They're kind of like UC San Diego of last year. So if they do end up winning the tournament, then Omaha goes automatically because they won the regular season. So kind of an interesting situation. If Omaha made it with St. Thomas, they're not really motivated to win necessarily, right? So kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I did not know that.
On Monday, you've got two more punched Sun Belt. The Sun Belt is 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. Central.
It's going to be a dogfight, too.
Oh, my God. 4 or 5 teams on the same record.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Troy, Arkansas State, James Madison, South Alabama, all 13-5 in the conference.
Yeah, and that's a conference that has gotten wins in a tournament. So I like teams like that. They've come out. It's a really competitive league, and then they get remember like Georgia State Panthers won a few years ago. Remember the guy who fell off? He tore his Achilles when they won the game. The coach did.
Arkansas State does have a win against the AP Top 25 this year from that conference.
That's right, the Red Wolves.
The Red Wolves, that's right.
And then the SoCon usually has some pretty good teams. They're also at 6 o'clock on Monday. University of Chattanooga is the top team in that league. They should win this league, but they gotta earn it. They're not going to make it otherwise. So
yeah, they're only 23-8. Yeah, they're
you got 3 other punch tickets on Tuesday next week. You got the CAA, Coastal Athletic Association. Yeah. Towson's really good this year, but UNC Wilmington and Charleston are always good teams. So, again, I think you probably play the underdog in those matchups. If Townsend makes it, the other one, just give it a shot. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and even Charleston, 23-8. I mean, they what 3 games out of conference they've lost. So not a bad
really
value there either. Yeah.
Here's a team I want you to put on the radar, NEC and the NEC. It's the Central Connecticut Blue Devils, baby. They're really good. They're 23-6, man. They're a really good basketball team. I think they're a team that's kind of qualified pretty recently as well. Now, look, Long Island has always been a good team. The Sharks, I love the name. That should be the final. If that's the final, that's also 6 o'clock on Tuesday. I definitely would watch that one.
Yeah, I mean, they're the only team in conference to win more than 20 games, to your point, with Central Connecticut. So,
yeah, all the pundits that I listen to, this time of year, they're just, pumping that team up. They're like, oh, my God, they're going to get one.
13-game winning streak, by the way. They are now 24-6. Yeah.
That's awesome. And then the Horizon also has a big matchup. Robert Morris is the 1 seed. Cleveland State is really good. Did they win last night, though? I saw that they were struggling.
Yeah, they won last night.
Okay, so the Vikings, that's a good squad. Robert Morris has made the tournament before, but Cleveland State's actually won games in the tournament, so I'd probably go to Cleveland State if I got a chance to bet against them.
Milwaukee's right there too, 14-6. They have the same record as Cleveland State, so the Horizon's pretty competitive.
Do you know one team that is not in there?
Wright State.
No, it's Green Bay, the team that took over by Doug Gottlieb.
Yeah,
they were atrocious.
Yeah. What conference are they in?
They're in this one. They're in the Horizon. Yeah, it's
I do. Yeah, they're 2-18 in conference. They're 4-28 on the season.
Yeah, he had a rough first year as coach. He should probably calling games. But
That's tough.
and then you've got the WCC, which everybody knows who's probably going to play in this one. The Gales against the Zags. Look, the Gales won the league outright. They're better, at least in the standings. Somehow the Zags metrics are better. I still don't understand that. But they did sweep the season series. So, I mean, I kind of feel like the Gales are finally going to get it this year. They're going to win both the conference and the tournament. But they haven't. I don't think they've ever done that against the Zags. They've never done both. So this would be a first forever.
I think Gonzaga might be a little inflated because they're 2-3 against the AP this year, AP ranked teams, and the Gales haven't played any AP ranked teams. So maybe some of those stats or metrics might be a little inflated just due to lack of competition that the Gales have played. I don't know. That's just my guess.
It's hard to say. I bet against the Gales. I think the first time they played. And they lost, meaning the Zags lost the game. I was shocked. And then they covered pretty easily the second time. So it's just some matchup problem. The Zags can score. They just don't play enough defense. And they're pretty deliberate for St. Mary's. They play a really deliberate style of basketball. The last ones I highlighted here, the Patriot, that's on Wednesday. I don't know the time unless it's been updated. This is American and Bucknell at the top, but Colgate has won the last 4 seasons. So I'm I'll never rule those guys out. It's kind of like in the American East, Vermont's always going to be in the title game. It's they're always there, just will they win it or not. And then the Southland is at 4:00, pretty early tip off there on Wednesday the 12th. McNeese State 19-1 in the Southland, dude. That's good. And Lamar and Nichols are on there.
Yeah,
they must be good. They must be good, right?
They're 0-2 against AP ranked teams this year, unfortunately, though.
They probably had to play Texas or somebody, right? Or somebody really good. So the Big Sky is the last conference I'd highlight. That's at 10:30 p.m., a little late on Wednesday night. The Northern Colorado Grizzlies taking on Montana. Are those both Grizzlies or Montana Grizzlies?
Well, one's the Bears and one's the Grizzlies. It's Northern Colorado Bears and then the Montana
Bears.
Grizzlies.
My bad. So, I don't know if I have a horse in that race, but that should be a late night one. I probably will watch the first 10 minutes of that game, go to sleep.
Something to keep your eye on though. Montana Grizzlies, they're 7-8 on the road this year, so obviously these conference tournaments don't take place. So they got a losing record. They're 15-1 at home, where Northern Colorado is 9-6 on the road. So a little bit better road team there. Yeah,
Look at
something
that.
to keep your eye on. Only team. Wow, get this out. Northern Colorado. Only team in the conference with a winning road record of 9. They were 9-6. The next best road record was 7-8.
There you go.
So, a little nugget for you if they make the dance.
I trust them. You know why they're so excited? If you've ever been to Greeley before, where Northern Colorado is, it stinks. You can smell it from miles away. It's like a cattle processing
They're just excited
area.
to get away from that.
They're just excited to be on the road, baby. They're like, we can smell again. I don't smell like manure all the time. So the rest of the conferences will start their tournaments starting as early as Monday, usually Tuesday, and go through Sunday at the latest. Some of them there's a couple that end on Saturday, of course. So, but we're actually only 9 days away from Selection Sunday, so it'll all be figured out.
Are we gonna record on that Sunday? I feel like we gotta.
We can if you want to.
I feel like we gotta do a show for some of our sleepers. We gotta because
the
tournament starts on that Thursday.
Reveal?
Yeah, I was gonna say it starts on that Thursday, so I feel like we gotta. We got to get that in before we could do a twofer, maybe. Wow. If
you've got the time, I will do a bracket reveal. I am all about that. I've got my pool. Wegs pool is running. If early entrants are in, people will usually put up, send out another reminder that day to people because the bracket's open. And then good segue. That I'm going to be at Stadium Swim on Thursday for the opening day. So that's what the hat's on here for. And we've already got it booked out. So Strickland's going to be down there. Night Ranger Paul Dempsey's going to be there. Nice. We'll probably get my brother-in-law out to the pool. I'm not sure. He hasn't committed yet. Art is giving me the typical Art response. Well, I'm not going to go, but maybe if we'll see. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's fine, Art. It's all good, dude. Show up if you want. I did buy tickets for that week to see my friend is in one of the dance shows at the Venetian. So we're going to have 5 people going. My sister's going, my brother-in-law, and then the 3 guys just are going to go to the show with me on Friday night. So And I like to roll the bones at the Venetian. That's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah. It's a good table to get hot at, that Venetian table. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. So what about this week? What do you got going? It says packing. So where are you packing for?
Yeah. Well, we'll be moving eventually, so we figured we'd start packing some of the non-essentials. So
When are
doing
you
all
moving?
that.
When is this move happening?
Probably beginning of April, give or take.
That's pretty soon.
So,
Yeah, probably a good idea to
end of
get
March.
started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we might as well get a jump on it.
There you go.
So yeah, we have Tuesday night bowling, and I don't know. I don't know what's going on this weekend, to be honest. Feels like
Yeah.
throwing caution to the wind this weekend, wherever the world takes me.
Yeah, I have no plans this weekend except I'm working on Sunday because that's my life right now. But yeah, I'm taking it. People give me a text, shoot me a text. Hey guys, what are you doing tonight? Nothing. Sitting around. I will
You're
definitely
looking
get a
at it.
beverage. I'll get a beverage tonight. Don't know where. Don't know who with who, but
Okay.
it's time to slide down the Brontosaurus like Fred Flintstone and
No dates. Wow, look at you. Are you turning over a new leaf?
Funny you should say that, but there's a couple of ladies pursuing, but I'm just telling them too busy. Like I've just been working nonstop. I think Wednesday I kind of hit the wall. I worked on Sunday about 6 or 7 hours. I worked Monday till 9. I worked Tuesday till like 9 or 10. Come Wednesday at like 5, my brain was like jelly, right? I'm like, I am not doing this for the rest of the week. I will work on Sunday again to try to like help myself. So yeah, man, gotta like blow off some steam, baby. And obviously I'm playing volleyball tomorrow. So
Nice.
yeah, tomorrow night, who knows?
Who knows?
Hit me up.
Knows? We got to put poker night back together.
I heard it was fun. I heard you guys had a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to win. You won a little money though.
Yeah, I won a little bit of money. Nothing too crazy.
You got to take some money back from Luke. I mean, he was the big winner. That's what I heard.
Yeah, he was the one. He was definitely the one. So.
Well, awesome. Well, okay. Well, follow us at Side Action Pod on that's on Twitter, right? On X, right?
You tell me.
Side Action Podcast on Instagram. Follow me on X and on Instagram at Wegspool.
You can check me out on Instagram at Dalton Cooper and on X at Mr. Grumpy Gills. Again, we are the Side Action Podcast from our stats department, from the social media team, myself, Wegsy Poo. We appreciate everybody. Oh, yeah.
We appreciate you so much, especially Paul Dempsey. Please keep listening to us. Win some money. We're trying to win you guys money.
I can't believe you didn't give me. I can't believe you didn't put me in Club Dub. I went 5-0, and this.
Oh, that's what you were thinking.
Yeah,
you were trying to kind of solicit that.
I was trying to tee up. Yeah.
I'm sorry. You could have put yourself in there.
No, that just doesn't feel right. First of all,
it's like giving yourself a nickname.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. See, you get it.
People do it all the time. My one buddy's always naming
I'm not
himself.
Here for it, though. You can't be the GOAT. You can't be the self-proclaiming GOAT.
Yeah, I was gonna put myself in. I mean, if I won a parlay, I'd have been in there. I mean, I was like I was killing it. I mean, like, dear God, 16 parlay. That's tough to do. Not on this podcast, but no, good job. You did 5-0. You did great.
Just glad somebody cashed in on it. That's all.
Yeah,
I'm just glad somebody. We'll be 0-5 this week. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, exactly. I didn't have that many picks, but yeah, but the Tritons played. Now they're like 24.5-point favorites. I'm like, maybe not the Tritons this week.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns. No thanks.
All right, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Love you guys.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Side Action Podcast. We appreciate all of your listens and thank you for joining us. We'll see you all again next week on Thursday for some more hot picks and side action. Side Action Podcast, its owners and associates take no responsibility for the opinions or statements made by the show hosts or their guests. Statements or show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of this podcast, and opinions between talk show hosts may conflict. Individuals following the advice given on the podcast accept their own risk of losses from wagers made. As the Side Action Podcast, its owners, hosts, associates, or guests will not guarantee any advice given. The opinions and advice given on the Side Action Podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Intro and outro and transition music credits. Song titles Jerry 5 and District 4 by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.org. Licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 3.0. creativecommons.org/licenses/by 3.0.